welcome to Premier by Judy Live. It's Judy here, and I'm here tonight with John Lissenbaugh, and we're going to talk about insurance solutions for your home-based business. And we know you might have questions. Please type them in. My wonderful husband, vice president, cameraman will let us know if there's questions. But I'm learning a lot just sitting here preparing for this. And just as background, we have been working with John and his father-in-law, Vernon McLean, for over 30 years. Ever since we moved to Georgia, they've been handling our insurance needs. But just a couple months ago at a networking event, we got talking about home-based insurance. And wow, my eyes were open. There's a lot of things that I realize are not covered in my homeowner's insurance. But I'm not alone in thinking that my homeowner's insurance covers my home-based business, right?
That's absolutely correct.
So what he told me is there are 11 million home-based businesses?
Yes, ma'am. 11 million home-based businesses in the United States, and of those businesses, it's estimated that possibly 87% of them have no insurance coverage for their home-based business.
That's just, well, actually, I can understand that because I was thinking the same thing. I work out of my home, so the home's covered, right?
That's what most people think. In fact, of that amount of people that don't have insurance, close to 40% of the people don't have it solely for the reason that they think that their homeowner's policy covers it since their business is based out of their home, and that's not correct.
And what do the other people think, or why are the other people not have the insurance?
Well, some people think, well, my business just isn't big enough. I don't need coverage for it. Other people just think there's no need for it, and then other people just don't know that they need to have it.
Yeah, and we talked about some of the different aspects, and of course, home-based businesses really run a huge spectrum
Absolutely.
of the services and things that they do. But I have read that 1 out of 8 families is now doing a home-based business of some sort. But for instance, of course, you all know, probably I'm a jewelry lady. So I have my jewelry in the house, but I don't have customers in the house. But if I did have customers in the house, what would I need to take care of that?
Well, one of the first things you need to be concerned about with any business, but especially something in your home, is liability coverage. Now, your homeowner policy will usually come with a liability coverage section in it, and a lot of people think, well, I'm covered for that. But that is for personal homeowners situations. That's not for a business exposure. As a matter of fact, your homeowner's policy excludes coverage for bodily injury or property damage, any type of liability like that that happens out of the use of your residence premises as a business.
So if I have a customer come to the door to pick something up, they slip on the way out, that's going to be all on me and my business.
You could be held legally liable for it if it's something that you were found negligent for. With any kind of liability case, of course, anyone can sue you pretty much for anything, but you would have to be found legally liable for that occurrence. But that is a great example where somebody does get hurt on your premises in the course of you doing business. A lot of times they will think, wow, I can sue the business for this. And what happens is, in most cases, a homeowner policy carrier will come back and say, we're not going to cover that.
Wow. Okay, so you need liability coverage for your business, right?
Liability coverage is the first place you want to start. That's going to cover you against property damage and bodily injury liability for something that might happen out of the use of your business or out of the use of your premises as a business.
Right, and if your business is your livelihood, you can't afford to lose all that.
Absolutely.
So, all right, well, how about, I've got an office in the house, but it's in my house. So that would be covered, right, by my homeowner's policy because it's in the house?
Well, in a lot of cases, most carriers will have a rider if you have a home-based office. But that's if you're just sitting there doing business in your office and you don't run a business out of the home, like with customers coming to the location, and you might have a small negligent or a small amount of business property on the premises that you need. With a lot of cases, you've got people that have inventory. That's not going to be covered under a homeowner policy.
Well, what about like my computer that I use for my business? It's in my house. Is it covered by my homeowner policy?
In most cases, a homeowner policy will cover something like a computer, but what people don't understand is within the homeowner's policy, there are built-in limits for certain types of exposures. When it comes to a home-based office, they usually have a small amount of of coverage for property such as a computer, business furniture, desk, filing cabinet, things like that. With most carriers, you're looking at only $200 to maybe $2,500 total coverage. And that's what comes standard with their policy, and that limits that carrier's exposure to something like a home-based business.
Okay, so even if my office, my computer, everything's wiped out, the most I might get is $2,500?
That's if it's on the premises. Let's say that your house catches fire and it damages your business property. Where things get really iffy is if you use that computer for your business, let's say it's a laptop, and you take that laptop outside the premises and it's either stolen out of your car, you have a car accident and it destroys your computer, or whatever happens to it. Business property off the premises is often limited to as little as $250 to $500 under a standard homeowner policy.
Wow. All of you people with laptops, I bet your eyes are getting big right now, because if you're like me, your computer is the lifeblood of your business. You need that for daily operations, right?
Absolutely.
And you said now inventory is not covered.
No, ma'am. Inventory is not covered under a homeowner policy at all. Where you would need to have coverage for that is under a business policy, where it would cover liability exposure and business property coverage as well. Most homeowner policies are not going to want to cover any kind of business inventory on your premises.
Wow, because I know people who have rooms and garages full of health supplements, full
Absolutely.
of makeup, a lot of those, and there's even some jewelry businesses out there now that are inventory based.
Absolutely.
Now, I don't have inventory, I just have samples, but I have a lot of samples, so I probably should have those covered separately too, right?
As long as you are looking to cover your business property, you need to look at a business liability and property insurance policy.
Okay.
Don't depend on your homeowner policy to cover your business exposure.
Right, I think we're getting the gist of that. So, wow, I'm sure a lot of you right now are really glad that you're hearing this, because, again, a lot of us rely on this home-based business for the income it brings us, and the last thing we need to do is to lose our business and then have to take care of the expenses out of our own pocket for replacing these things. So we're losing, if there's a disaster and we lose income, then we're in big trouble. Now, is there anything that would cover something like that?
Not under a homeowner's policy. Again, you're very limited on your coverage for that. But when you go into business insurance, you start off with your basic liability coverage, and then you add things like business property to that. And then you can start adding on those riders as you might need them. And that's where talking to your insurance agent or insurance professional can really help you in that. They can ask you the questions that says, do you need this coverage, or do you need this coverage, or this coverage? And then you can find out what a tailored program would be that would suit you. Okay.
Wow. So that's a lot of learning. I'm sorry, I'm saying a wow a lot, but this is a wow moment. But she said, you need to talk to somebody in the insurance company. Don't talk to one of your friends and ask them what they have, because you can't know what your customers need if you don't know what your customers have,
That's
right?
absolutely correct.
And most of us with home-based business don't think to tell our insurance agent that we're doing it, because, again, we think it's covered, it's in the home, it's not a big deal. But it could be a very big deal. So you need to talk to somebody, and John would love to help you.
Absolutely.
And at Creative Insurance Solutions, you are an independent agent, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, can you explain what that means?
We're an independent agent, which means we're not tied to any one specific company, but we represent multiple carriers. And what we can do is put in a specific person's scenario, and we can find a company that best suits them. And it's very good for getting competitive quotes. Instead of introducing yourself to 6, 7, 8 different agents and giving the same information over and over and over, you can talk to an independent agent, and you can develop a relationship with them, and they can put out your information and get quotes back from 8, 9, or 10 carriers, and that's kind of a one-stop shop to see what might be the most competitive for you. The other thing to remember is that all carriers are not equal in what they cover and what they don't cover. Some carriers will allow you to take your homeowner policy, and they may add a rider to it that might help you out if you have a small home-based business, and they may have coverage that's suitable for you under that. Other carriers will totally not cover that at all. So that's another place where you need to make sure that you're honest with your agent and you tell them exactly what's going on, and they can tell you if your company covers what you need it to cover or not. And if it doesn't, then you have to look at going out and getting some kind of business insurance for it. And that's where, again, an independent agent can help you there.
Right, because you need to find out about insurance before you have to have it, right?
The best time to find out it's not covered is before you need to have it covered.
There you go. And now we've talked a lot about homeowners policy.
Yes, ma'am.
But you also were explaining some things about auto insurance and what it may or may not cover.
Absolutely.
In regard to your business.
What's really scary sometimes with the auto coverage is that, again, some carriers may say it's okay for you to use your auto if you're using it in the course of your business. We need to know about it, and there may be a rider that you can add to your policy that allows the liability coverage to extend to that exposure. There are other carriers that say, no way, no how, we do not want this exposure if you're using your vehicle in the course of doing business. And when they say doing business, they mean any kind of business. You may say, oh, well, I just
drive to jewelry shows.
I just go to jewelry shows, or I just do little handyman things on the side. I don't do it full time. I only do it this amount of time. But their definition of business is their definition of business, and you need to find out what your specific carrier calls a business and whether or not that they will cover you for using your vehicle that way.
So basically in these things, that if you're not covered, then if there's an accident or damage or liability and you're using your car for business, some insurance companies can say you're not covered.
Absolutely.
And so all the costs are coming out of your pocket.
Absolutely. The worst thing in the world is to have an accident, someone's hurt, or even worse, and then have your insurance company come back and say, you didn't tell us that's the way you were using your vehicle, we're not going to cover that loss. Or in some cases, they may say, if they do end up covering it, after that, they may not renew your policy. And again, neither one of those is a very optimal situation.
No.
It's better to find out ahead of time that, hey, what I'm doing is okay with my insurance company.
Right. Okay. So and said it's not the most pleasant of things, but we do need to, part of being financially secure is protecting your assets, and that includes your business, that includes your business supplies, your business equipment, your business furniture,
Absolutely.
Your inventory, your car, and then again yourself and your finances in case of liability, right?
Absolutely.
So to find out if you can, what kind of coverage do you need, please give John a call. And John, what's the best way for them to contact you?
They can contact me by phone, 770-963-0066. They can also find us on the web at www.creativeinsurance.biz. We also have a Facebook page, and we would love to talk to you about it.
And between you and Vernon, you've been doing this like 50 years or so?
We have over 50 years of insurance experience between the two of us, and we would love to talk to you.
And I'll tell you what, it's worth making an appointment just to see this lovely office they have in Grayson.
We do have a lovely old house that we're in.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for your time tonight. Please keep John's number handy. Make sure that you are covered. You have a home-based business because you need some income. We don't want to lose that source of income. We don't want the business to cost us money. So make sure that you're covered properly. And some of these riders, they're not terribly expensive, are they?
Not at all. In fact, most people may even avoid talking to their insurance agent because they just think, I don't want to spend any more money. But when you're talking about the cost of the insurance versus the cost of what might happen to your business, if your insurance company decides not to cover something, it could be catastrophic.
Okay. All right. Well, again, thank you for your time. John, thank you for so much information. Larry and I are going to go back and read through our policy.
Okay.
And we may be giving you a call.
We would love to talk to you.
All right. Thanks, everybody, so much. If you have any questions, again, contact John. Find out. Make sure that your business is protected, that you are protected. And we will see you next Monday. Thanks for joining. Bye-bye.